Hallo liebe Eichhörnchenfreunde hier zu der Stanley Parable Folge 11. Genau, beim letzten Mal habe ich schon einige Enten gefunden. Dieses Mal nehme ich natürlich wieder meinen Eimer mit.
A bucket of cup. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him
Wir können ja schon von den ersten Run ohne den Eimern eigentlich alle Wege schon. Ich wollte mal dahin gehen, wo diese zwei Türen waren.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Ja, die rote und blaue.
Said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Oh yeah.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Hier rein? Okay. Das ist aber dunkel. Is this a bucket?
I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin.
Okay. Erster Gegenstand.
Item
Das
one.
ist ein
bucket?
Eimer, ja.
Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Das ist ein Eimer.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket,
not
an actual bucket.
Der nächste Gegenstand.
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Das ist jetzt aber ein Eimer.
Correct. This is a
endlich.
bucket.
Der nächste Gegenstand bitte.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Das ist ein Eimer.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one. Is this a bucket?
Das ist auch wieder ein Eimer.
Correct. This is a bucket.
Ah, okay. So.
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
Und die Nummer 6 ist kein Eimer.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
Ah, okay, es ist beides. Und jetzt?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
Ich bin ein Eimer.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something, and therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
Ja, natürlich.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence, and yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
Ja, natürlich. Du bist ein
Stanley, I
Eimer.
can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
Nein, bitte nicht.
Here we go.
Bitte nicht, nein. Hey.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue. But it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what. I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Okay, dankeschön.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Hä? Wie, was? Was ist los?
Ah, the embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Oh ja.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was no, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
So, dann haben wir endlich noch dort, wo das Telefon ist.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Das können wir endlich noch probieren.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Well, from here, it looks like the only way forward is down, since the lift won't be coming back, but that's okay. You've got a bucket. Did you know that buckets are routinely used as cushioning devices? It's true. You can fall on a bucket from literally any height and survive.
Ah, okay, also wenn ich auf einmal lande, überlebe ich das. Okay.
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
Gemeinheit. Naja.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it would. The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
Nach oben.
The cargo lift, yes. Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here,
said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Ja, einfach blind folgen. So, und was ist jetzt hier drin?
Now pick up the phone, said the bucket. Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Okay.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
So. Ja, der Eimer kann mit mir reden. Wo ist denn der Eimer? Ah, hier. Hallo Stanley, ich bin es, dein Eimer. Drücke Pfeiltaste nach rechts, um mich zur Arbeit mitzunehmen. Okay.
The Stanley Parable reassurance bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Also nur in meinem Kopf, okay. Und jetzt drücke Kreis, um mich zurück nach Hause mitzunehmen. Okay.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Ja, natürlich höre ich nicht. Okay, drücke Pfeiltaste nach oben, um zurück zur Arbeit zu gehen. Okay.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me.
Ja,
It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Okay, also was anderes macht er nicht, also. Okay. Hör nicht auf den lauten Mann. Drücke Kreis, damit wir wieder nach Hause gehen. Okay.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once
Natürlich.
upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Wo ist denn mein Eimer? Ah, hier. Drücke Pfeiltaste nach oben, um alle in deinem Leben außer mir zu ignorieren. Okay.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
Natürlich ist hübsch und glänzend. Du hältst mich für real, oder Stanley? Drücke Viereck, um wieder nach Hause zu gehen. Okay.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Okay. Ja. Da ist mein Eimer. So, du kommst wieder mit. Drücke Pfeiltaste nach oben, um denselben Tag mit mir wieder und wieder zu erleben. Natürlich.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Ich bin süchtig nach ihm. Drücke X, um nach Hause und zur Arbeit nach Hause und zur Arbeit und nach Hause zu gehen. Okay.
Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
Ah, romantisch, ja. Also,
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to
Nein.
me. Give me the bucket,
Nein.
Stanley.
Nein.
I need it.
Mach ich nicht.
Give it to me now. Give it or I'll...
Nein, das ist mein Eimer. Geh zurück zur Arbeit, Stanley. Okay. Dann zurück zur Arbeit.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room. Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No.
No,
said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
So?
In here,
said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
So, da sind wir.
Now pick up the phone,
said the bucket.
Pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Nö.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket.
Can't you see?
Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
Okay, schauen wir uns das Video an.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
Okay, die Witzelei ist jetzt vorbei. I'm Dunny with the funny.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, with each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threatened our very existence, and to very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Okay, nochmal zurück. Alles sehr ähnlich tatsächlich, nur anders erzählt.
This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video.
Du nicht.
Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now? Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke.
Okay,
I'll
trainiert.
figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
Können wir seinen Witz zerstören? Indem wir dann in die rechte Tür nochmal gehen?
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Nö, ich gehe rechts.
What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point. A dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the two doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my...
Nochmal anschauen.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Wenn ich jetzt nochmal rechts gehe. Was passiert dann?
What? We're back at the phone already? No.
Okay.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door.
Ja, ich war schon links. Links. Jetzt soll nur links gehen.
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley?
Ja, ich bin zufrieden.
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal. I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
Oh ja. Also der Erzähler kann gute Komödien. Naja. Ich würde sagen, suchen wir nochmal ein paar weitere Enden in der nächsten Folge. Ich wünsche euch was. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Ciao, ciao.